Machi Koro. This is your review for 2. Good day, my name is Joe Gerba. Today we'll be going over Machi Koro and how it plays with 2 players. Now Machi Koro is a 2 to 4 player game where you'll be building your town by spending these coins. You'll be able to buy one thing per turn. You'll roll the dice on your turn and maybe get some coins, during the other person's turn. And the ultimate goal in the game is to turn all 4 of your landmarks over, and the first one to do that wins the game. Now let's see a little bit more how to play. Now this game is pretty simple. On your turn you get to roll the dice, and you're either going to take coins for the dice number rolled or not if you don't have the number associated with that. Then you'll gather your coins, and then you can buy one of these cards per turn, or you can buy one of your landmarks. And play keeps going back and forth. You'll be acquiring these cards, making your dice rolls more effective. So say I bought another wheat field and I rolled a 1. Instead of getting 1 coin because I had 1 wheat field, since I bought another wheat field, I'd get 2 coins. The blue cards happen on anybody's roll. The red cards happen on the other person's turn, and the green cards can only happen on your turn. You can buy one of each of these purple cards, which are a little bit more robust, but they require you to strictly on your turn roll a 6. And as you acquire these landmarks, they let you do different things, and once you get all 4 flipped over, you win the game. If the other person beats you to it and flips all 4 of theirs over, they win the game. That's Machi Koro. Now let's see what I thought about the game. Now the components in this game, there isn't too much to it. There's some cards, there's 2 dice, there's some coins. Everybody starts off the same. You know what's going to be out on the board the same, so you can set it up easily each time. It really doesn't take up much table space. You can probably finish a game in about 15 to 20 minutes with 2 players, maybe a tad longer with a few more. But it really is a really tight game. The rules for this game, there really isn't too much to it. On your turn, basically, you roll the dice. You pay out if you roll a red number for someone else, if they've taken any of these, the cafe or family restaurant, anything that'll take away from you. Then you'll gather cards. The other person may gain some. If you roll a 1, they have a wheat field, you have a wheat field, you both gain some money. And it's very simple. Roll, buy something, next person. Roll, buy something, next person. Gets a little bit, more interesting when you get the amusement park, which lets you roll 2 dice, which is how you get, access to this this second row of cards, if you will. So people will be staying on 1 dice for a little bit until you get more money, and you can buy this amusement park. Then you can try to elevate the game a little bit by rolling 2 dice. So let's talk about the gameplay a little bit. The gameplay is very straightforward. It's very simple. However, most games can kind of play the same with 2 players. It's just not really the sweet spot for this game. One person may, you can try to change up your strategy, but inevitably one person, there's just usually a pull away winner. Once you get a couple of these landmarks out that can escalate things very quickly, and you're really the luck versus strategy, you can have as much strategy as you want. But if you roll that critical number, if you're searching for one of these 6 sides that'll just explode your money, it can really blow open the game. Now, saying that, this is a very simple game to play. This is a good family night kind of game to play. It's very easy to teach. It's very easy to get to the table. And it just kind of flows really well. You can have some laughs. It's not a brain burner. One person needs to be paying attention, and make sure everybody's getting their money on time. But with 2 players, it really doesn't quite hit home. It's very quick. One person rolls, they buy something. The other person rolls, they buy something, back and forth. But, it kind of makes some of these green powers more prevalent. And I'll get to that a little bit in the final thoughts for the 2 player. The replayability of this is okay. If you're looking for something just to get to the table quickly, it's easy. You know all the cards that are going to be out. When one of these decks runs out, too bad. It is quick, but there's just not a lot of variability in the game. It depends on what dice you want to roll. Do you have enough money? When do you start buying the landmarks? When do you start going to 2 dice? Those are really the 2 big decisions in this game. So there aren't a whole bunch of large decisions you can make. You can look at the other person and see what they're building, but really your own strategy can work against you. It all depends on the dice roll. So as you can tell, I do have a lot of mixed feelings about this game. It's quick, easy to get to the table, but for 2 players, I just don't quite think this hits home. So in the end, is this game good for 2? It's an okay game. It's decent, but it's just not great for 2. I think the sweet spot for this game is 3, and I'll go over that in a second. So these blue things you can buy, these blue cards, these blue, city, town cards, can get you money on anybody's turn. So in a 2-player game, they're not quite as, you don't have enough time in between turns where, the green ones may be money makers for the turn. Same thing goes with the red. You're only getting the red on the other person's turn. Where in a 3-person game, you have 2 other people that can give you money if they roll, on one of the red cards. In a 2-person game, these green cards are pretty powerful. They can really just escalate very quickly. With 4 players, some of the red cards and the blue cards take a lot more precedence over the green. Which, like I said, the green only happens on your turn. On a 2-player game, this doesn't quite hit home. There's not quite enough choices. There's not quite enough things to do. Like I said, for an intro game, sure, great. But this is not one that I know I would keep in my library for too long. I kept this because this is one of the first games that we bought. We really like teaching new people. It's a great, 3 or 4 player game. But for 2, this isn't one that we bust out for, very often. Now there is Machi Koro, Big Lights and City Expansion, I believe it is, which varies up some of these cards, makes it more interesting on what you can buy instead of one person just buying all the wheat fields and buying all the ranches. With this box, what's out there, and it just, that with that other expansion, these things change. It can be okay with 2, but Machi Koro is really a 3 or 4 player game. So it's a decent game. It's light. It's easy to teach. But if I were going to buy something like this again, I would buy the Bright Lights Big Cities base game instead of just a standard Machi Koro. Decent little game, but is it necessary in a lot of people's collection, especially for 2? Well, personally, I don't think so. But that's my review for 2 for Machi Koro, and until next time.